Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money, Grant Mitchell. We are here breaking down a little week 14 action, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money, Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing really good, Tanner. We had some really good games last week during the holidays, and we got even more good games this time around. Last Sunday kind of stunk, but we had really good primetime games, and we got some really good ones this week as well. So I'm excited.
The slate is awesome this week. It's fantastic, and there's a lot of teams that could be falling out of the playoff hunt this week with a loss, and that makes it even more exciting, like the Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to be a good game.
Can you imagine if the Cowboys, if they find a way to keep this NFC East streak alive, where it's been 22 years, 21 years since the team has won it 2 straight years? It seemed like a foregone conclusion the Eagles would win, but what if they just collapse?
Well, they're a city. It's a nasty city. Bad people in Philadelphia. Like, again, I support booing if your team's not playing well, but it definitely can't help like when they go 3 and out on the first drive, and then after that, it's like boos the entire. Like, they deserve to boo. Don't get me wrong. They paid a ticket. They came to see the Eagles play football. But the entire game against the Bears, it was boos. And you can't tell me that helps them play well.
It definitely doesn't help them play well. To stick up for Eagles fans, which is a phrase I never thought I would say, the Eagles do have a historic 3-and-out rate, and they gave up 280 rushing yards. That's just determination. That's just manhood. And I haven't seen the Eagles get tossed around like that in a decade.
But even if they didn't give up the yards on the ground, the offense has still been inexcusable. Like the defense can have a bad game. Like, that's fine, whatever. The defense had a bad one. The defense has kept them alive all season. The offense, like, I don't know how you can't get the ball to AJ Brown. I feel like I could throw the ball to AJ Brown. Like, I think if you put me at quarterback, I could complete more passes to AJ Brown than Jalen Hurts. Just run straight down the field. I'm going to throw it up to you. That's all you got to do. And they don't even do that.
Well, I follow some of these advanced guys, these advanced like film breakdown analysis guys on Twitter. And according to them, the Eagles are running hitch routes at a historically high rate. And then they run crossing routes at the lowest rate in the league. So that's why when you watch them play, it seems so predictable. And then you go back and you break it down. And you go, oh, well, that's because it actually is. Everybody knows what's coming.
Did you see the videos on Twitter of people throwing rocks at Kevin Patullo's house?
I thought it was eggs, but yeah, I saw it.
Rocks, eggs, whatever. What are your thoughts on that?
It's inexcusable. Can't do that. He put out a statement, or he might have just said at a press conference, but he basically said a line was crossed, and he's right. He's also been getting. I got a buddy who works in the FBI. He's up in Philadelphia, and Patullo's been getting death threats, and it's just. There's a line that's crossed.
There's a line. It's a trash city, and that's a clear sign of it. You don't see that happening up in Boston or New England, but
oh yeah, yes, I'm sure.
But at the same time, too, like, again, there's lines crossed, and I think it goes back though to the fact that these guys are public figures and they're paid to do a job that people really buy into. Like, that's the tough part about it. Like, obviously, it's not right. We've talked about this on the podcast, but like, if these guys are getting paid a lot of money, don't drop the football. Throw the football right, catch the football, block the person. Like, it do your job. I think this would be the NFL and all professional sports would be a better place if you did not get your salary unless you performed. Like, obviously you get your minimum, whatever, but for you to get everything, like, the majority of it is performance incentives.
That would always be the best case scenario for everybody, but it's not reality because the players need protection.
So Patullo is he's a little scared right now. That means he's going to call scared offense. He should just throw it. Just start throwing the ball down the field. That'll make the people happy.
I mean, they do call pass plays. Jalen Hurts just decides not to throw it sometimes.
I hope they get eliminated. I hope they lose in the first round. I hope they don't make the playoffs.
They're not a fun, and like, I'm a Commanders fan. Like, I get it. But the whole last episode, I was saying how fun the Cowboys are to watch. That's not the case with the Eagles. They're not a fun team to watch. They're not like they're just not a story that the league can get behind. I'm with you. It would not be a bad thing if they just were not in the playoffs.
No, they're a really bad story. Like that, Jalen Hurts has no personality. AJ Brown doesn't want to be there. The offense sucks. Patullo can't call the offense. The defense is really good, but it's just they can't support the offense. Sirianni, I don't know. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl, so you can't say he's a bad coach. But like, is
He's
he
got
that
the highest winning percentage of any coach ever.
He's got a really good team. Like he's had a really good team since
it just sounds. I'm with you though. I'm with you because he's wins more games than anyone else, and he's already won a Super Bowl. Yet I have no idea if he's a good coach or not.
Yeah, that's how. And I feel like the fans hate him. You know,
and he hates the fans. He'll fight them if he has to.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he's a nightmare, man. This whole team is just an abomination. Anyways, Grant, what else going on in the NFL that's major news heading into the weekend? We got Lamar Jackson, we got the Steelers. We're going to talk about that game. We're talking about the Bengals and the Bills. That's going to be a fun one. Joe Burrow, and then Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Season on the line Sunday night. That's going to be interesting.
100%. A lot of big games coming up, and Tanner and I are here to break them all down and give you our best player prop picks and our best bets from every game.
Yep. So anyways, guys, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Ride the Line. We're here every Tuesday and Friday giving you guys picks. We're also here with clips throughout the week and shorts. Make sure you guys smash that subscribe button. We're presented by WSN, the World Sports Network. Grant, why don't you talk about WSN.com?
100%. Guys, whether you're in Missouri, which just launched its new sports betting market, or you're just anywhere in the country where sports betting is legal, if you head on over to WSN.com, you can get bonus codes for all the sports books. That equals up to thousands of dollars worth of prizes. Also, you can get picks every single day from every major sport from Tanner, myself, and the rest of the expert team over there at WSN.com. So make sure you check it out.
I remember when sports betting launched, just a quick little segue here, when it launched in Connecticut and Massachusetts, I remember how good the deals were, like the no-brainer bets, and it was the greatest thing ever. So Missouri people, that weird state in the middle of the country, please enjoy it, because it's a good time.
They got one, it's plus 100 odds, max $50 bet if there's more than 1 point scored in some football. I don't know if it's a Thursday night game, I don't know if it's the Chiefs' first game, but it's some game this week, and you just need 1 point.
The Chiefs to score 1 point. That would be, imagine that, the Chiefs to score 1 point against the Texans defense. Not a guarantee.
Not a guarantee, no. But I remember whatever game it was both teams combined. So it just can't end in a 0-0 draw.
Did we talk about Young Ho Koo or Young Ho Koo, whatever?
Young Wei Koo.
Young Wei Koo, whatever the hell his name is.
No, we didn't. Not on the podcast.
Dude, his name's Young Wei Koo.
Yeah.
Well, how did he get off the Falcons?
They released him because he kept missing kicks.
That's how you say his name, Young Wei Koo? Damn. Young Ho Koo.
It's spelled Young Ho. It's Young Wei though.
Young Wei. I don't. He doesn't. I don't. That was terrible. Anyways, that just popped into my mind. With that being said, Grant, should we get into the picks?
100%. Which game you want to start off with?
Let's just go through the slate in order. So let's start with the Steelers and the Ravens. Take us into it.
Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, big game. AFC North showdown. Potentially the winner of this game wins the division, gets into the playoffs. We will have to wait and see. But Tanner and I do have our best player prop picks from this game picked out. Before we get to that, though, I think it's important to talk about how this game is actually going to unfold, because I believe both teams are 6-6. I'm checking that right now. Yep, 6-6. So Steelers win puts them in the lead. Ravens win keeps them in the lead. Tanner, how you see this one going?
Well, I look at this game and I see Lamar Jackson being very turnover prone, and that scares me. I also see the Pittsburgh Steelers being really bad at football. So it's like the combination too, like what do you trust more to get back to the norm a little bit? The Steelers on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills looked old and decrepit. Josh Allen just ran all over them, or James Cook, whatever. Everybody ran all over them. The entire team ran. They couldn't throw on them, but they ran all over them. Since this is a division game, like 5.5 points is a lot here, but I just don't think the Steelers are a very good football team. I think we've seen that throughout the year. Defensively, they've gotten lit up through the air. I mean, I go back to the Joe Flacco game. He lit them up. Offensively, they don't block. They can't throw the ball. Aaron Rodgers can only throw the deep ball if he gets people open. Like he's beat up. I mean, there's just so many issues with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. So I do trust the Baltimore Ravens coming off a bad loss to the Bengals to bounce back. But again, you never know. I would lay the points here with the Ravens. I don't think Lamar is going to be as bad as he was against the Bengals. I don't think that's possible. And if he just holds on the ball and they run it with Derrick Henry, like the Buffalo Bills did last week, there's no reason they shouldn't win by 10 points.
Yeah, so I'm also leaning to the Ravens here. I'd also take the points with them. However, I got to be fair, and I got to point out what's going on with both of these quarterbacks. So starting with Lamar, he has completed 20-plus passes in one time this entire season in a game. His last 3 weeks, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 9 sacks. He's been held under 200 yards passing in 4 of his last 6. He's been held under 30 yards rushing in 4 of his last 5. He's just been abysmal. It's irregular for a 2-time MVP for a down year to be this down. And there was a couple year stretch where Lamar had these games, and that's why it looks so silly now looking back on it when the Ravens franchise tagged him. It was the non-exclusive tag, so a team could have come in and say, hey, we're going to give you 2 first-round picks, and we can take Lamar. That seems so silly that nobody did it because Lamar's won 2 MVPs. But at that time, he was having like this recent 4, 5, 6 game stretch. He'd had a season of that, a season and a half of that. So it's just weird that he can be this high, but then also this low. But then on the other side with Aaron Rodgers, I mean, his recent games, he's 10 of 21 for 117 yards. Week before that, he's 9 of 15 for 116 yards. He's also been held under 100. He's at 160 or fewer yards in 3 straight games. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks in his last 3. He's 27th in QBR this season. Like you said, he kind of just looks like an old, decrepit man. It's like when I watch him play, I'm worried that if he gets hit, he's going to break in half. And so, yeah, it's hard to feel good about either one of these teams, but I do like the Ravens defense more. I like the Ravens running back more. And if I'm picking a battle of, Lamar underperforming versus Aaron Rodgers actually just being washed, I would rather take the underperforming guy who can still get back to MVP mode. Aaron Rodgers cannot get back to MVP mode.
Yeah, there's too many uncertainties with the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. And this is also going to be the first year. Most likely Mike Tomlin doesn't hit that 500 mark. And if that's the case, how is this team going to play down the stretch? And I think that's kind of in their head right now. I mean, the division is on the line here. Steelers win, they still got a chance at the division. If the Ravens win, they get a chance at the division. The loser of this game is not going to the playoffs, most likely, just because of how the standings are working out. So this is a playoff game. And I don't think the Steelers are going to win it.
Yeah, and if the Steelers do finish below 500, and they're scrambling, they released Darius Slay, like that was going to fix their problems. They're scrambling to find answers. If they do go below 500, I do wonder if Mike Tomlin's job comes into jeopardy, because that's not something the Steelers do. I think they've only had 3 head coaches in their entire franchise history,
which is impressive. That's very impressive. They need a quarterback. And we talked about this, how he hasn't had a franchise quarterback, but he had Kenny Pickett and he drafted Kenny Pickett. And in that class, what year was Pickett drafted?
Was he 21?
Yeah, 22.
22.
So the quarterbacks that went that year, it feels like it was a weak quarterback class because none of them, he might have been the first. He might have been one of the first quarterbacks.
He was the first one. He was picked 20. I remember that.
That is insane that Kenny Pickett was the only and first quarterback off the board. You talk about a bad quarterback class. Another quarterback didn't go in the 2nd round. The next quarterback that went was Desmond Ridder. Okay. Desmond Ridder.
That's a bad quarterback. Then Malik Willis, and then it was Brock Purdy. That was the Brock Purdy year.
So there were only 3 or 4 quarterbacks drafted that year?
Let's see. Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, Bailey Zappi, Sam Howell, Brock Purdy.
So Zappi or Purdy would have been the best picks there. But that's okay. So you can't fault the Pittsburgh Steelers then for drafting Kenny Pickett. Like Kenny Pickett was the best quarterback in that class by far.
Well, I fault them. I fault them for it because he was the best. He was the best quarterback, but it doesn't mean anything. If you're the best of a bunch of nobodies, who cares?
How in the world did a man who wears gloves on both hands become the best quarterback in the class? That is
the fake slide. Do you remember the fake slide that got him drafted?
Which isn't even legal anymore. He ruined that for people. That's crazy. Wow. All right, Grant, let's get into some props here for the game.
I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers under 196.5 passing yards. I laid it out, but just to kind of re-hit on these numbers. So he has 161 passing yards 3 weeks ago, 116 2 weeks ago, 117 last week. And the 116 he did leave early, I will say that, but because of the injury. But even still, like he's just not throwing the ball very well. It's been getting worse and worse as the year has gone on. He did have a 203 against the Colts. He had a 219 against the Packers, a 249 against the Bengals when they were playing terribly. But, you know, going back to like week 3, he's 139 against the Patriots. Even when he's getting over this line, it's a 203, it's a 200, it's a 203, it's a 219. It's not like he can go for 250, 300, and you're banking on an outlier down day. No, this is somebody who's been struggling to get to 200, and he's also pretty consistently been under 200.
I like that. I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. This is the tough pick for me, but I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson over his passing yards, which is currently set at 222.5. I think he's due for a bounce back. And you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, they're giving up 247 passing yards per game, which is the 5th worst in the NFL. Lamar Jackson has not been great. He's been turning the ball over like crazy. My one fear here is they say, hey, we're just going to run the football with Derrick Henry. And that's really what they should have done last week against the Cincinnati Bengals, and they would have been okay. But I think this is a week where you throw the ball. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe there's a chance the Steelers can get something going where you have to throw in this football game because of turnovers. But if Lamar can't go over this number against Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I don't know what to say, because there's been a lot of quarterbacks that have ripped them up through the air this year.
My second one, I only got 2 in this game. My second one, I'll take Mark Andrews, anytime touchdown scorer. Just signed a new deal, 3 years, I think $36 million. Congratulations to Mark Andrews. Kind of surprised they gave him that deal because he is 30 years old, and they have Isaiah Likely, who's going to be a free agent this summer. And I'm going to assume they're not bringing back Likely because I don't see why they would pay both tight ends in the same year like that. But I mentioned earlier, Lamar had not thrown a touchdown in 3 straight games. If you look at the 2 weeks before that, Mark Andrews had 3 touchdowns in those 2 weeks. So just because he hasn't scored the last few weeks, well, nobody scored because Lamar hasn't done his job. So if Lamar can play a little bit better, Mark Andrews still one of his favorite targets, and he'll be motivated. He's got the contract. So, yeah, I think it just makes sense to follow the script there.
Well, he also cost him a playoff game last year.
He did.
We cannot forget that. So it's amazing that they re-signed him after he cost the nation, one of the best Ravens teams we've seen in a long time, cost them a playoff game. But that's what happens when you don't hold on the ball. Tough.
What else you got?
Derrick Henry. I'm going to take him under 80.5 rushing yards. This is scary because the script could literally flip on both my props. You're either going to get one over and one under. Lamar could be the under. Derrick Henry could be the over. But Derrick Henry over 80.5 rushing yards right now. He has gone under this line in 3 of his past 4 games. He has only carried the ball 10 times last week for 60 yards, and that was a game where the Bengals were all over them offensively, so they couldn't afford to run, but they should have because the game got out of hand much later than the scoreboard shows. They beat the Jets. He had 21 for 64 against Jets, only averaged 3 yards a carry there. You go back to the Minnesota game on November 9th, 3.8 yards per carry. That's not what we know from Derrick Henry, and if I know Mike Tomlin, the Steelers defense, the one goal is to stop the run. If you can stop the run, you're going to put yourself in a position to win football games, and then you're going to make Lamar throw the ball. So I think just the fact that the Steelers have an average rush defense, but when I look at Derrick Henry here, the Ravens aren't really leaning on him as much, and they're not having as much success when they do. 13 for 65 last year against the Steelers in November, and then the second game against the Steelers, 24 for 162. So it's a wild card pick, but I'll take the under.
Yeah, one thing that Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have done a great job whenever they play the Ravens is they do a great job of taking away Lamar's legs. Lamar's not running the football right now, so one less thing to worry about. Priority still stays on the ground, like you said.
Yep. So, Grant, moving into our next game here, we have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Buffalo to face the Bills. The Bengals are a 5.5-point underdog in the spot. Joe Burrow is coming off a hell of a game against the Baltimore Ravens, and the Bills are coming off a big win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, that Bengals game against the Ravens, we talked about this matchup earlier in the week. I want to go back and I want to pull up these numbers because the Bengals won 32-14, which is obviously pretty decisive. This game was never really in doubt, but if you look at their red zone efficiency, the Bengals were 1 for 6 on scoring touchdowns in the red zone. So this could have been 45, 50-14. 32-14 does not tell the story of how big of a blowout this game actually was. So if that's what we're getting with the Bengals, and keep in mind, T. Higgins also didn't play against the Ravens there. That was just Jamar Chase, who's obviously a phenomenal player, but that wasn't even the Bengals at full strength. That was Joe Burrow, started the game like 1 for 10 passing in the red zone. That was not even close to what they can be at their best. So if that's what we're getting, combined with the defensive improvements that we saw in that game, the Bengals can be competitive with most teams in the NFL, and that includes the Bills, who are not performing right now. When James Cook isn't running for 120 plus yards, there's trouble. The Bills could lose. They could let teams hang around because they're just not a complete football team right now. And Josh Allen I think he's thrown an interception in something like 6 of his last 7 of his last 8 games. And that's a recipe for the Bengals to stay around, be competitive in this game, and maybe even win.
Winning, I'm not so sure. I mean, it's a tall task to go in and win this football game because I don't know how that Bengals game would have looked last week against the Ravens if the Ravens didn't turn it over as much as they actually did. So I do think that, maybe the Ravens just aren't playing great. The Bills aren't playing their best football, but I do think they're going to be able to score in this game at least because the Bengals don't really stop anybody, even though they did play pretty damn well last week on defense. They forced half their turnovers of the season in one game. I'm going to take the Bengals here plus the 5.5. I'm not overly comfortable with the pick, but I think Joe Burrow is only going to get better. They're going to be able to throw the football a little bit in this game. When you look at just the defensive stats for the for the Bills right now, the Bills are giving up 21 points per game. So middle of the road team when it comes to yards per game, they are giving up 304. So one of the better units there, but I still don't respect this defense a lot. I still think there's a lot of holes on it. I think Joe Burrow is going to be able to find them, and they cover 5.5.
Yep. I'm there with you. And in the spirit of that, I am going to take Joe Burrow over 249.5 passing yards. He had 261 against the Ravens, did throw the ball 46 times. Like I said, he was very ineffective he was inaccurate early on, only completed 52% of his passes. If that normalizes, gets back to like 65% wherever he is over the average of his career, he doesn't need to throw the ball 46 times to get over this line. We really don't have a large sample size on Joe Burrow because he got hurt in the second game of the season, so we're kind of just banking on what we know here. But what we know is Joe Burrow came back out, guns blazing. This Bills team doesn't seem complete, like I said, and the Bengals are totally playing with house money. So they can call this game as aggressive as they want to. A loss doesn't really matter. Just put it in the hands of your best players and see what happens.
I like that play. I am going to go with Josh Allen over. It's a little scary, but over 234.5 passing yards. When you look at Allen, past few weeks, only had 123 last week against the Steelers. That wasn't the kind of game where they needed to throw the ball, though. Against the Texans, had 253. Against the Bucks, had 317. Had 306 against the Dolphins, 273 against the Chiefs. So from what I'm seeing, when Allen needs to throw the ball, he's going against a high-powered quarterback, he's going to be able to throw the ball. Texans, obviously, that was just because they had so many possessions because they kept getting stuffed. But the Buccaneers, game against Baker Mayfield, 317, then Tua, and then Patrick Mahomes. So he's going to rise to the occasion against good quarterbacks. This is going to be one where I don't think the Bills are going to come out and run the football like they did last week because they can't afford to. They're going against Joe Burrow. They got to match it, and that's where Josh Allen's going over the passing yards.
That was my second prop in this game as well. I got 2 in this game, and it was a double quarterback over. A lot of the reasons you laid out there. And also, if Burrow's putting pressure on him, Josh is going to throw the football. He might throw an interception, but he'll get some yards.
How about Jamar Chase first touchdown plus 750? It's going to be my next little sprinkle here. Have a little fun with this one. The fact that Joe Burrow is back, Jamar Chase is happy again, and they are hooking up like crazy. So I'm going to keep throwing the ball, or Joe Burrow is going to keep throwing the ball to Jamar Chase for plus 750. You can't beat that.
Okay, I like it.
Minus 115 anytime, and I'll love.
Minus 115. It's just some of these touchdown score odds are ridiculous. Have you seen them for Thursday night, the Thursday night game?
No, I have not.
So the Cowboys-Lions, you've got minus 240 for Gibbs, minus 135 for Williams, minus 110 for Montgomery, plus 100 for Jameson. So you've got on the Lions alone, you've got plus 100, minus 110, minus 240.
Even Isaac Tesla plus 155. What's he have?
Yeah.
Like three touchdowns this season.
CD at plus 120, Pickens at plus 125, Ferguson at plus 145. All these guys aren't going to score touchdowns. If you just actually go through and do the math on this, they're screwed against you.
Tesla has 3 touchdowns this season. I know what Amon-Ra is out tonight, so that's probably why. But like plus 155 for a guy with 3 touchdowns in the season, I'm sorry, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm with you. 115 for Jamar. Not sure that I would take that one, but
even Luke Schoonmaker plus 950. That should be like 20 to 1. He catches one pass a game, maybe.
He might run one route per game.
Yeah, like come on, that's crazy. Anyways, moving to the next one, Grant.
Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Texans, big game on Sunday Night Football. Loser of this game, well, if the Texans lose, I guess they're still alive for the playoffs, but it gets really dark. If the Chiefs lose this game, they're probably out. So this is a huge game. I want to say these teams are like 8th and 9th in the standings right now. So tiebreakers at stake, all that great stuff. Chiefs coming off of a couple of losses. Meanwhile, the Texans have looked a lot better, scored some wins that we didn't expect them to. So big game for both these teams. How do you see this one unfolding?
The Chiefs got to win it, right? Like there's no other option. The Chiefs have to win. They have to, they don't have to cover because it is 3.5 point spread, but they have to win the football game. I don't see another world where they don't. So if you like minus 180, stick it in your parlay. Now I've said that pretty much every time the Chiefs have lost this season when their backs have been against the wall. I go back to the Denver game, have to win it. And they don't win it. Last week, have to win it. They don't win it. And, they've had opportunities to win all these games. That's the crazy thing. They're just not winning close football games. Now, this plays out to be a close game just because of the spread and how good the Houston Texans are on defense. But this feels like a game where the Chiefs go in and blow their doors off a little bit to me.
Ooh, okay.
It feels like it. I don't know why. But when you give Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid a little extra time to prepare, going against a really good defense, I think that's one noteworthy thing. But the biggest reason here for me, I don't know if the Houston Texans can score enough to keep up with the Chiefs in this game. Even though the Texans are great on defense, if the Chiefs score 24 points, I think the Houston Texans might only score 10 or 14. I think this plays out to be a 10-point win for the Chiefs somehow.
So from that perspective, I can understand it. I don't really know that the Chiefs are capable of blowing anybody out right now, which is my fear. They're not a very good football team. They haven't been executing within the fine margins. They can't run the football. They can't generate a pass rush, which really hurts them on third down. They look old. Kelsey obviously is old, but like Chris Jones is starting to look old. He's not the same guy that he was. Trent McDuffie, who was in conversations for like top 2, top 3 corner in the league. He's not having the best year. So it's difficult, man, because the Texans defense should give them a very high floor, but CJ Stroud also hasn't taken them over the hump really since his rookie year. He's not been the guy to change games. So I'm with you that the Chiefs, I feel like, just have to win this game. I was also in the same boat. I said they would beat the Broncos, said they would beat the Cowboys. I was wrong on that. But it's hard for me to see them losing this game and their season ending.
So the Chiefs are 6-6 right now. Current playoff probability 34%. If they win, it goes up to 48%. If they lose, it goes down to 11%. So from what I'm seeing here, if they lose, it's down to 11%. Minus 144 for them to miss the playoffs is a steal. But I also wouldn't want to take that going against Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. He's the scariest guy to face in the NFL, no matter how good his team is.
Now, if they win out, are they definitely in?
If they win out, yeah.
They're definitely in. So that means they have to beat the Texans, the Chargers, who are just a trash football team, the worst, at the Titans versus the Broncos, at the rate. Like, it's very doable.
It's doable, but it's difficult.
It's doable, but it's difficult. But it's not like that. You got 2 layups in there. You win this one. The Chargers, I'm not going to call that a layup, but like the Chargers are not going to beat the Chiefs. I'll stand on that business. The Texans maybe could. The Broncos maybe could, but like, no, I think Chiefs are getting in. Chiefs are getting in.
Well, I'm going to take a Patrick Mahomes prop in this game. I am going to take him over 22.5 rushing yards because the Texans can generate pressure. Now, they're league-wide rankings. They're only like 14th in pressure generated, something like that. But we know what Danielle Hunter does on third down. We know what Will Anderson Jr. does on third down. Their corners are really good, so that allows them to play man coverage. And if you do that, you are inviting the quarterback to run if he can escape that initial rush. Whether you've got a spy, he's got to get that past that linebacker too, whoever it is. But even still, you break the line of scrimmage, you're going to get 10 to 15 yards right there. Now, the numbers don't look the same as they did earlier in the year, but as of like week 7, week 8, something like that, Mahomes is basically the Chiefs' leading rusher. He had 30 rushing yards in back-to-back games, went under in 2 games before that, but also went over in 4 games before that. So if you look at it holistically, he's gone over in 6 of 8 games, averaging right about 30, 32 rushing yards per game during that stretch. So I think for all those reasons, and also the desperation element, we've heard Mahomes say previously in his career that he waits to run until the playoffs. And then he said earlier this year that just the way the season had gone, it called for him to run more because he had that desperation. He's got that mindset. He will take risks if he need to. So I like his over.
I like Rashee Rice over 68.5 receiving yards. We know Rashee Rice likes to go fast. This is going to be a game where he has to go fast. He's gone over this number 4 of his past 5 games. The Chiefs need to get him the ball. They always tend to get him the ball. I don't think the Houston Texans defense is going to be able to slow him down for 68.5 for under 68.5 yards. Because if he doesn't hit that, I don't see a world where the Chiefs win the football game. They don't have enough other star power to Xavier Ward. They can't go out and win the game for him. It's got to be Rashee Rice. Some of the plays he made against the Cowboys were fantastic. Also like him to score, but I'm sure the odds here are pretty insane. Plus 120, not bad. I will take that all day long. Rashee Rice over his receiving yards and a Rashee Rice touchdown. And the Chiefs keep marching on to the playoffs.
I'll take CJ Stroud over 232.5 passing yards. Now, we all know that Stroud is not the same guy as he was as a rookie, or maybe he is, and things were just breaking his way as a rookie, and now they haven't. But one thing you can't say about him is that he doesn't know how to throw the football. He can move it down the field at the very least. He had 276 yards against the Colts last week. Last game he played before that was the concussion game, so we'll strip that out. But his last full game before the concussion, he has 318, 229 before that, 244, 233. He can throw the football. Now, again, he might not make the best decisions. He might miss some passes, might throw an interception here and there, but he will get yards. And the Chiefs' inability to get a pass rush presence on third down has forced them to call these bomb blitzes, these corner blitzes, and that means someone's open. So if Stroud can hang in the pocket and find them, then he should be able to go over.
So I'm going to pair that up with Nico Collins over 70.5 receiving yards. I personally, I don't know what your take is on this, Graham, but let me ask you: do you think Nico Collins is good?
I think he's good. Yeah,
He's not good. He's not great. He's like quietly okay. Like I don't know. He's really not. He's not the same guy he's been.
I think he's in the Gosh, if we can go back to the start of this season, or just like the end of last season, I think him and Terry McLaurin are like right in the same tier. So they're not quite great, but they're better than everyone else that's good.
2023 had 1,200 yards. 24 he had 1,000 yards. This year he's going to 795, so he should push 1,000 by the end of the year. I mean, a little over. Like he's having a good year, but it just doesn't feel like it. Feels like there's no, maybe because of how they play football, it feels like he does not break games. Like that impact, yeah. There's no impact like with when he catches footballs. But anyways, he's been putting up some numbers, so we'll ride with him here over 70.5 yards. He's gone over this line in four of his past 5 games. There's 1 touchdown in that stretch. He's catching about 6 passes a game on average over that stretch too. Getting a lot of targets though, double-digit targets in 4 of the 5 games, and those are also the games that he went over his line. So I think if the Chiefs have some success on offense, because while the Texans defense is great, Patrick Mahomes can still score. The Texans are going to have to throw the football a little bit here, and that's why Nico Collins going over his receiving line.
Well, I'll give you another Texans receiver that I like to go over. This is a guy that I've bet on like 3 or 4 times this year, and it's hit every single time. I'll take Jaden Higgins over 30. What is it? It's either 32 or 34. 34 and a half receiving yards. He had 65 last week, which is a good sign because sometimes backup quarterbacks like throwing to different targets than the starter does. But the 65 was a career high for him. 5 catches on 5 targets. He had 38 the week before that, 55 the week before that, 42 the week before that. And then he has a stretch where he hits the over in 2 of 4. So hit the over in 4 straight games, 6 of his last 8. He had a career high in receiving yards last week, career high in targets the week before that. He's a big presence in the offense, literally big, 6'4". If you need those bailout passes, a lot of times you can just throw in his direction. He'll come down with them, and he's growing more and more trust in the offense.
When did Braxton Berrios sign with the Texans?
I have no idea. He was on our practice squad at one point this year.
Yeah, my guy Braxton. Braxton, 2018-19. He's had a big career, low-key. He's been there a while. Just a side note, I didn't even realize.
What do you mean big?
He's made $18 million in his career. He's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's played 8 seasons. Like, I would not expect Braxton Berrios to be an 8-year NFL vet. But Braxton Berrios,
career length is 3 years, right?
Yeah, Braxton Berrios, is he listed for an anytime touchdown? Not even listed for an anytime touchdown. That's sad. Anyways, I saw that on ESPN, so I figured I'd bring it up. Shout out Braxton. Shout out Alex Earl, Dancing with the Stars champ.
Why is Alex Earl getting a shout out?
Because she's dating Braxton Berrios.
Is she really?
You didn't know that? They've been dating for years.
Why would I know that?
I don't know, because I like Braxton Berrios. So you follow Braxton Berrios and you'd see Alex Earl a lot.
Well, I watched Dancing with the Stars because that's my my girl. We had to watch that every year. So I'm now a fan of Robert Irwin. I saw Alex Earl up there a lot.
Was on it? The Crocodile Hunter was on it, Junior?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. He's a good looking guy.
I mean, do you want me to? Are you gonna watch it, or do you want me to spoil what happens?
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
He won the last season.
Robert Irwin did.
Yeah.
What's his
Steve Irwin's son, and also Robert Irwin's sister, Steve Irwin's daughter, had won it like 5 or 10 years earlier than that.
So it's rigged.
It's the way that they vote on the show. It's a combination of fan vote and judges' scores. So if you get a lot of votes from the fans, it becomes a popularity contest. And I think that's why he won. He was good, though. He was really good.
Alex Earl should get more fan votes than Robert Irwin.
I don't know. Everybody loves Steve Irwin.
Yeah, but like, does he do the same stuff? I mean, I've seen his stuff on Instagram a little bit.
He does conservation type effort things.
How does that even translate to winning Dancing with the Stars?
Well, he was really good, though. Him and Alex Earl were the best on the season.
So he's got 9.2 thousand followers. Alex Earl has 5. Wow.
I would 5 million.
I would have never guessed he has double the followers as Alex Earl. So that makes sense.
Is it 5? You said he has 9.2 million?
Yeah, and she's got 5 million. That's crazy. That's really crazy. Wow. I'm
sure he gained a lot. Both of them probably gained a lot during the show.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so anything else on this game, Grant?
No, I'm thrilled to know that I now know that Braxton Berrios is dating Alex Earl.
I'm surprised you didn't know that. I want Braxton Berrios over a half a reception. Like, I want that prop in this game. I'm taking that. You can request props at certain sports books. Maybe you got to get on that. Yeah, not FanDuel though. They just take money from me. Anyways, big game, Grant. Big Kevin Patullo revenge game. Monday Night Football. Take us into it. Eagles Chargers Monday Night Football. Big game here. Kevin Patullo trying to get revenge for his house getting rocked or egged, whatever it was, by the kids who posted it on TikTok and are inevitably going to be in jail pretty soon. Eagles trying to avoid the same thing that happened to them 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago where they lost 6 of their last 7, lost to the Bucs in the first round. The Chargers
very quietly have kind of just survived. I guess that's the best way to put it. They're 8-4, which is a good record. They lost their starting running back. They've lost receivers. They've lost both tackles. They've lost defensive players. And they've kind of just hung out as this team that's going to make the playoffs, but you don't really know what they're going to do after that. So definitely a big game for both of these teams. And it would be a statement win, I would say, because it would at least be a sign that, hey, we're still here to compete. So how do you see this one going?
I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to get it done. I think they're going to get it done. If I got a full 3, I would take the Chargers because I think it's a field goal kind of game, but I'm going to take the spread out of it. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to go out and win the football game. I don't know why. I can't break it down as much. Like because there's nothing to break down. Offensively, they've been terrible. Defensively, they've been good, right? The offense has to come alive a little bit more. This is a spot where I think they're going to be able to do something here. While the Chargers have been good this year, they're not great. They're very inconsistent on offense. And I think the defense for the Philadelphia Eagles, this is another game that profiles for them to go out and win it. I don't see the Chargers offense being able to work around this Philadelphia Eagles defense if they show up and show a little pride more than they did against the Packers or the Bears last week.
You know what's interesting about Justin Herbert, talking about the Eagles defense here, which I do expect to be a lot better because you gave up 280 rushing yards. That's an attack on your manhood. And I think Vic Fangio is going to have those boys ready to go. So that's going to be a big opportunity for them considering the Chargers are missing both of their starting tackles. They've had offensive line injuries all year. What's really interesting about this is Justin Herbert last year led the league. He had 3 interceptions, so the fewest in the NFL. He has thrown at least 1 interception in 8 of his last 10 games. He has 10 interceptions on the season. The only players with more, I want to say, are Geno, Tua, and it might be JJ McCarthy. Someone's got 11. It might be McCarthy. And then it's Herbert, and it's actually ironically Josh Allen as well, and they're tied at 10. But yeah, he hasn't been taking care of the ball as much. And so for that reason, I don't even know if Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball, but he's probably not going to throw an interception, even though he had a really ugly one last week. I think he's only got 2 on the year. So ball security is just a little more of a certainty with the Eagles, and their defense will be motivated. And the Chargers also, Marion Hampton, if he does end up playing in this game, he's coming back after a lot of time off with a broken fibula, I believe. So for a run first team, I'm just not sure that any of this adds up to a Chargers win. So I do think it'll be close as well, probably a low scoring game, but I would take the Eagles.
Yeah, I just don't see a world where the Chargers can win the football game. I really don't. I think the Eagles are better in all phases. I think if once they figure it out on offense, I'm not saying they're going to, but once they figure it out, there's no way the Chargers can keep up with them. I'm not saying this is going to be the game, but they still have enough weapons to get it done here. So especially with Justin Herbert's injury, on the left hand, swelling on his left hand here. Non-throwing hand, I don't know how much that impacts him, but it probably impacts his ability to run the football a little bit and his ability to do handoffs and all that. So that's another factor you got to bring into this game. So combination of the injuries and just Justin Herbert overall, very inconsistent. This is a spot for the Eagles.
I'll take Jalen Hurts over 187.5 passing yards. It's all the Jalen passing props are always scary because, man, he could go out there and have 112. But he did have 230 last week. He had 289 the week before that. Here's the scary part. Went under in 3 straight games before that, but then has 280 plus in 3 games before that. It's difficult. It's no matter what you're trying to figure out, it's going to be difficult to find a money line, a spread, a player prop with the Eagles because they are just wildly, wildly inconsistent. But A.J. Brown has looked better. There's been more of a willingness to throw the football. Kevin Patullo revenge game for those kids, and just a desperation game. If you lose 3 straight, your season's probably over. I would have to go check the stats on how many teams have lost 3 straight games and won a Super Bowl, but there's definitely going to be a level of desperation with this Eagles team. So I think Jalen can get it done.
Give me a Justin Herbert interception. You're getting this -114, pick in 4 of his past 5 games, 10 interceptions on the season. Combine that with the hurt hand, combine that with the offensive line injuries, and combine that with the Philadelphia Eagles get a lot of takeaways. I think that's a very, very strong bet for this one. Last 5 games has 4 picks, as I said. Just not Justin Herbert's not very good. He's the most overrated good quarterback in the NFL, and the Eagles defense needs to carry them in this game.
I'll give you a touchdown score hedge, I guess is the way you could put it. You can get Omarion Hampton anytime touchdown score for plus 170 and Kamani Vidal anytime touchdown score for plus 330. Those are the two running backs. If the Chargers are near the goal line at all, they're going to get the football. Vidal in the last 6 weeks scored in 3 of them. So that basically puts it at effectively plus 100 odds if we're doing it fair. And then Hampton, let me get his numbers. Hampton, he only had 2 touchdowns on the season, but he did get injured early in week 5. So really, he also only played 4 full games, scored in 2 of them. So for both these guys, the odds should effectively be about plus 100, but you get them for plus 170 and plus 330, like I said. So Vidal's probably the more value play there, just because if it hits, you'll get a bigger payout. But if you want to hedge them, then you only need one of them to score, and you'll still turn a profit.
I like it. Couple bets for me here when it comes to the touchdowns in this game. I'm going to go back to AJ Brown here for plus 180. Again, I've been very good calling AJ Brown touchdowns on the podcast. You need a big performance out of him. Like, I don't know how you get the ball to him, but you got to find a way. He's got 6 touchdowns in his past or 6 touchdowns on the season, coming off 2 against the Bears. And they're trying to get him the ball, obviously. Had the big second half there, 132 yards. They're capable of doing it. They know they can get the ball to him. And like, if they would have played like that in the first half, it probably is not as close of a game. So I think they're going to get the ball to him in space, continue to get him his touches there. And the fact that when you look at just how this offense operates, they're not running the ball very effectively with Saquon Barkley. So it's almost like they got to just abandon the run. They go to the pass when they can't run the football. You know right away you can't run the football. Get to the pass right away with A.J. Brown.
Saquon this season, 740 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3.7 yards per carry.
What was his total? Was like 1,500, right?
At some sports books had it at 1,500, some had it at 1,450.
So he won't even come close to either of those.
No, if he continues, so he's played 12 games. So if we do 740 divided by 12 times 17, he's on pace to finish with 1,048.
So he would need, what would he need per game to hit that?
To hit 1,500?
Yeah.
What'd I say? He has 740? Yeah, 740. He would need to average 152 yards.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
No, that's not
happening. That ain't happening one bit. But yeah,
anyway, one of my biggest bets of the offseason. I think it might actually have been my biggest future bet was Saquon under 1,500.
That was free. I mean, they it's a combination, like they can't block for him, but they also don't use him as much. Like,
and also just historically, I remember going back and looking at the data, but there had been, I think, eight or nine 1,000-yard or 2,000-yard rushers. And all of them had seen their yards per carry drop by at least 1.2 the following season. Pretty much all of them have gotten injured, and Saquon hasn't, which is good. I don't want him to get injured, but there were just too many signs saying it was unlikely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Grant, that was the pod for the day, right?
Yeah, that was good. We got the picks out there for the weekend, and we'll see how they go.
So, guys, that was Ride the Line Podcast, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. We're presented by WSN.com. Make sure you guys check that out for the picks, the promo codes, the sports betting articles, and we will be back next week with another episode. Grant, take us out of here.
That's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Tanner and I appreciate you all joining us. Make sure that you do hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here as well. And we will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.